All right, welcome to this video tutorial for your tripods and camera movement assignment. This is for the editing portion of the assignment. You can complete this editing portion of the assignment even if you weren't able to be in class to do the filming portion of the assignment, so you can still turn in something for credit. And this video is going to show you everything you need to do that. First of all, when you're on one of our lab computers, that's how I'm showing you how to do this. I'm showing you how to do it on one of our lab computers that has all the programs installed. This tutorial is not for how to do it on your own computer, which may not have the programs installed, so I encourage you to use one of our lab computers. So let's get started. You'll log into a lab computer. Go ahead and start by going up to the Wi-Fi symbol here, and you can turn this Wi-Fi off. Sometimes people turn the Wi-Fi on these computers, but these computers are hardwired into Ethernet. They don't use Wi-Fi, they're just hardwired in, and that hardwire Ethernet is about 4 times faster than using Wi-Fi. So just make sure that's off, so it's just hardlined into the Ethernet. Okay, now we're going to make a couple of folders. So on this computer, I'm going to go down to my Finder icon down here, or I can just, on my desktop, I can create a new folder. Now, if you're using the same computer that you were using for previous class sessions, you probably already have a Video Production Lab folder that you can just open up that folder. But if you don't, if you're starting from scratch, you can just click anywhere on your desktop and just choose New Folder. I'm right-clicking to choose New Folder. And I'm going to make my Video Production Lab folder. Okay, go ahead and open up that folder. It should be an empty folder. And then I like to have my Finder windows in this, instead of icon mode like this, I like to have them in list mode like this. I'm going to have it in list mode. Now again, if you're using a computer you used for a previous class session and you've already got this Video Production Lab folder, you probably have another folder in here called Assignment 1. Let's make a new folder for Assignment 2. I can just right-click anywhere here, choose New Folder, and make an Assignment 2 folder. Awesome. Inside of this Assignment 2 folder, I'm going to make a 5-folder setup, just like I did for the last assignment. Those 5 folders are Audio, Exports, Graphics, Media, and Projects. I'm going to just right-click and make each of those new folders. So Audio, Exports, Graphics, Media, and Projects. Okay, keep this window open. You can set it off to the side if you want to, and let's open up another Finder window where we're going to pull some other files. So go up to File, do New Finder Window. If you don't see this, make sure you've clicked on the blue face so Finder is the program that's active. New Finder Window. And in this Finder window, I want to open up my Downloads folder. My Downloads folder will go there. Yours will probably be empty. Maybe we'll have some other stuff in there, but I want to have these 2 windows open, my Assignment 2 folder and my Downloads folder. Then you're going to go to your browser and log into Blackboard. This is our Blackboard page here, and you're going to find your video files. To find them, on our Blackboard page, scroll down until you see Shared Files. This will take you to our shared server. This has all your files in there. You'll go to Spring 23 or whatever semester it is when you're watching this, and you'll see a folder here called Assignment 2 Tripods and Camera Movement. Go ahead and click on that folder, and then you'll see a folder with your name on it, with your files. I'm just going to go ahead and grab this one and start downloading files. So you can start downloading files here. The way to download files, what I recommend that you do is do it one at a time, but you can select all of them and then just choose download as well. I'm going to do one at a time just to start downloading them. I think it's just a little bit safer. When I do that, when I click download here, it's going to start downloading that file. Now, the reason I asked you to make sure that you're not on Wi-Fi but on Ethernet instead is because video files are big and it can take a while to download video files. So you might see some time. This part might be a little bit time consuming depending on how many files you downloaded and how many files you created and how big they are. So I'm going to do that again. Make sure that went through. And it might give you a notification like this. Go ahead and click Allow. And I can see it's starting to download that file right now. When it downloads, it might open it up in a QuickTime window like this. You can go ahead and close that. It might do that for all of them. Just go ahead and close that QuickTime window. And I'm going to go ahead and download the rest of these as well. So I'm just going to do it one at a time just to be safe and start getting those downloaded. Okay, once you've downloaded the last file, you can go ahead and hide your Safari window. I like to just hide it instead of minimizing it. You can just go up to where it says Safari and choose Hide Safari or Command H to hide it. And if you have any of these like QuickTime windows that opened up, like where it showed you the video, you can go ahead and close all of those too. Or if you've got a bunch of them opened up, and you want to close them all at once, it's got a bunch of these open, you can just go up to QuickTime Player and choose Quit QuickTime Player. And that will quit QuickTime Player. Okay, so you've got your video files here. They're in your Downloads folder. We need to move them into our Assignment 2 folder. So in your Assignment 2 folder, find your Media folder. You can just double-click to open that up, and then get your files. Click on the first one, and then hold Shift to click on the last one, and then just drag, drop into there they go. You can close your Downloads folder, and now all of those files are in your Media folder. We're also going to download some audio files, so go back to your browser. I'm sorry, I told you to hide it a minute ago. Go to your shared files here. So the shared files that we found from our Blackboard page. Go back to here to Spring 23. Let's go to Assignment 1, because in here there were some songs that we can download, some sample music. Let's go ahead and download those now. The one that ends with Wave, Dr. Dream Chip, the one that says Smell, the MP3, and this the Soul one. Let's go ahead and download those. So we're just going to click on these to download those sounds. These ones shouldn't take as long because they're audio files. It might open up Apple Music when you do this. Kind of annoying. I wish it didn't do that. But you can just pause that, quit Apple Music if you want to. I'm going to go ahead and quit that. It might do that with the other ones too. I'm going to go ahead and get these downloaded into my Downloads folder. And the last one. Okay, and get rid of that. Now I can hide Safari again. I'm gonna reopen that Downloads folder I just closed. So I'm gonna go to File, New Finder Window. I'm gonna go to that Downloads folder. Now I've got those songs there. I want to put them in my audio folder here. So I'm gonna go to my audio folder, just double click to open that, and then again, just select these 3 songs and drop them in this audio folder. Okay, got those things I need. I needed a song, couple songs, and my media. Now it's time to open up a Premiere project. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So I'm going to find Premiere on my computer. If it's not down here in your dock, you can find it just by going to the Spotlight search, typing in Premiere, and it should be this option that shows up here. Once Premiere opens up, and again, if you're using Premiere on a different computer than you've used in the past, you'll have to sign in with your Adobe ID. But once you're ready to do that, we can go ahead and create a new project. Premiere is going to give you, again, this kind of template project with all these kind of sample files you can use. We're not going to use any of these, though. Up at the top left, we're going to give it a project name. Call it Assignment to Your Name. Then, and this is very important, under Project Location, click on this dropdown and choose Choose Location. We're going to tell Premiere where I want this to save. On my desktop, in my Video Production Lab folder, in Assignment 2, in the Projects folder is where I want this to save. Click Choose. Then under these Import Settings, make sure all of these are unchecked. So Copy Media is unchecked, New Bin is unchecked, and Create New Sequence is also unchecked. We'll uncheck all of those and then choose Create. This will give us a completely blank Premiere project. If this is the first time using Premiere on a computer, you might have this big panel right here opened up. It's kind of a tutorial panel. Let's close this. I can just go to this little sandwich menu at the top left, click on that, and then just choose Close Panel. Now I should just have a completely blank Premiere project. That's great. Let's start importing some files into this. So I can keep Premiere open. I don't have to hide it or anything like that. And I'm going to go down to my Finder. I'm going to go to my Assignment 2 folder that I had before. I'm going to drag and drop 2 folders into my Premiere project into this project panel down here. If you don't see this panel that I'm seeing right here, this project panel, go to Window, find Project, and check on this Premiere project we're working on. I'm going to drop my audio folder in there to import that, and I'm going to drop my media folder in there. Now, by default, the folder kind of layout in Premiere looks like these kind of icons. I kind of prefer for it to be list mode, which is down here for list view. That's a little bit easier to find things. There are ways to use icon view, and we will use it as we're editing here, but for now I want to do list view. I'm going to make one more folder in here. It's not a folder that I created in Finder earlier. It's a new folder just for Premiere. You can just right-click anywhere in this gray area here and choose New Bin. This one will be called Sequences. All right, so I should have 3 folders. Audio, it's got some stuff in it. Sequences is empty. Media has got some stuff in it. Okay, so what we're going to do with your footage is you are going to choose 6 clips from all of your footage. 6 clips, just have to choose 6. And then you are going to take 10-second chunks out of those clips and put them together back to back to build a 60-second short video, just with B-roll, just from B-roll from what you filmed. So what I want to do is you can choose whichever 6 clips you want. Hopefully there's 6 different clips, different kinds of camera movements. All 6 that you choose should be different kinds of camera movements, so it's not repeating camera movements or angles or something like that. So I'm going to choose 6 clips. And for this, actually the way I might want to do it is actually to open up this media folder in its own little tab. If I double click on the folder, it's going to open up my media folder in its own tab like this. Now, if I want to go back to my project panel, I just click on the tab. You know, these are just like tabs on your browser. But I want to only see my media, and these I do want to see in this icon view. That way now I can actually see all of my clips, and actually if I hover my mouse over the clip, I get a little preview of what it looks like. I can kind of go back and forth in time. And what I'm going to choose is I'm going to choose 6 different clips that are different kinds of movement, camera movement or angles or things like that. And I can choose kind of my favorites from this. I'm going to choose a little bit arbitrarily. You can choose your favorites. And to see these a little bit bigger, this preview is kind of small. If I want to see a preview of a clip a little bit bigger, just double click on it. And we'll open it up here in this source panel. Then I can see this clip from start to finish. I like we have this guy walking up some stairs. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and choose a 10-second segment of this clip to drop it into my timeline here to make a sequence. So let's go ahead and do that. What I can do is if I want to, I can just choose a 10-second chunk out of this. And I'm going to use my in and out controls to do that. So I'm going to start at the very beginning of this clip. I like this guy walking up the stairs. And I'm going to click on this little left bracket right here for mark in. You can also just press the I key on your keyboard. What I'm telling Premiere when I do this is I'm telling Premiere that when I drop this clip into my sequence, I want it to be to start here at the beginning. Then I'm going to move my playhead to the 10-second mark. So I'm going to use my arrow keys to get it right there to the 10-second mark. And then I can click on the mark out icon here, or just type the letter O on my keyboard. What I'm telling Premiere is I only want this 10-second chunk of this clip. Okay. Now, right now, my timeline is empty. I have no sequence in there. And remember, a sequence is the thing that you edit in Premiere. Now, I could, if I wanted to, go up to File and New and make a new sequence from scratch. We know how to do that. But instead, I want Premiere to make a sequence based on the settings of this clip here to have the frame rate and the resolution and all of that from this clip. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and you can just drag and drop from this whole thing. Just drag and drop it into your empty timeline there. And now Premiere has made a sequence. It's made a sequence that's based on that clip. It's 10 seconds long. It only took 10 seconds of it. And I have a sequence now that is the resolution and the frame rate of this clip that I dropped in there. Let's go back to your project tab here. And you should see now something new. It showed up right here. It's called MVI 4317. It's going to have the same name as this video clip here, but it's not this video clip. It's a sequence. Here's how I know. If I open up my media folder, all of these video clips have this blue icon here. These are telling me these are video clips, and they all say .mov at the end. But this guy here that's green doesn't have the MOV at the end, and it's got a different icon. That's because this is a sequence. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this into my sequences folder that I made earlier. I'm going to collapse this. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the sequences folder, and I'm going to rename this because it's kind of confusing that it's a sequence that has the same name as that video clip and it's just random letters and numbers. I'm going to rename this sequence because a sequence is the thing that we edit in Premiere. I'm just going to right click and choose rename. And I'm going to call this sequence the same thing as my project. I'm going to call it assignment 2, my name. Now you can see when I changed the name of this, it also changed what's up here, because this is a sequence. If I were to close this and have an empty timeline again and I wanted to get that back, I'd go into my sequences folder, double click on this little icon here, and I got my sequence back. Okay, I've made the first step of my process here so far. I've got this 10-second long clip. I'm going to go back to my media bin here. I'm going to look through some other clips that I want to add here. So let's say here's a rack focus that I want to add. All right, so I'm going to choose a portion of this. I'm going to try to choose a portion where the rack focus actually happens. So I will move my marker. Let's say I'll just move it right over this 3-second mark here. And then I'll choose in, And then I'll move my marker over the 13-second mark because I'm going to go forward 10 seconds. Oh, looks like I need to choose a little bit earlier than that, don't I? So I'll go, I can actually just click and drag over this to move it even earlier if I want to. I'll move it to the 1-second mark here just to be safe. And then I'll move my playhead over the 11-second mark so I know I'm getting a 10-second long clip here. It looks like I need to go even a little bit earlier. Why don't I just do my in point at the very beginning? Just do that. Then find the 10-second mark and find that, and then hit O for out. And take this clip and just, again, drop it into my sequence right next to my other clip there, right next to it. Then in my sequence, if I want to, I can zoom out a little bit just by holding onto those wheels there so I can see a little bit more. So I've got a 10-second clip here, 10-second clip here. Let's choose 4 more. We're going to have 6 total. Try to choose different camera angles, movements, that sort of thing. Let's see, I've got this as a floor view. It's kind of fun. I'll just start from the beginning, go until the 10-second mark, and drop this in. Very fun. Let's pick a couple more. Let's see if I got a tilt here I can use. Perfect. We'll do tilt. And this tilt, oh, you know what? This one's not quite 10 seconds long, so I'm going to choose a different one. Let's see if this will do the job for me. Yeah, this one will do the job. Do this tilt. Drop it in here. Let's see if I've got a pan. I can actually kind of see. I've got a pan I can use. Here's a pan. I can do this one. And I'll just choose, again, 10 seconds out of this one. And I need one more 10-second clip. Let's see. It looks like I've got a wide pan. That's fine. We can go ahead and go for that. All right. So you should have 6 clips here that you chose, and you're just putting them back to back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they're all equally long. 6 10-second long clips. Okay, next thing I can do is let's go ahead and do some transitions between these clips. Let's have a little bit of fun with this. So I want to open up an effects panel down here. It looks like there isn't one right now. So let's open that up. Let's go to Window and find Effects. It'll open up a little tab down here. And then I can actually just search for an effect. The first one I'm going to search for is Dip to Black. It's this one right here. And I'm going to put this one at the very beginning of the first clip right there. And by the way, if you can't see all of your clips, just make sure to zoom out like this, or you can just hit the backslash key on your keyboard and that will zoom you all the way out. That dip to black effect, what it did is it has it so it opens up from black. Then I'm going to add another effect. The one I'm going to do is just a cross dissolve. I can just type in cross dissolve, and I'm going to do a cross dissolve at the beginning or in between each of these other clips. If you want to choose different transitions, if you want to find different transition effects that you think might be fun, you're welcome to do that. You can have fun with this. But I'm just going to do a cross dissolve between all of these, and then I'll do a dip to black on the end of these. Those are really common effects that we use. So now a cross dissolve, what it does is it will just dissolve from one to the other like that and like that, and that's very simple. Okay, so we've added a simple effect. Let's go back to our project tab and let's add some audio. We're going to add an audio track underneath these other audio tracks. These video tracks have audio that was recorded with them. That audio isn't very important, but we'll leave it on for now. I am going to go to my audio folder here. I'm going to choose a song. Doesn't matter which one. I do want one that's at least a minute long, and at least that looks like they're all a minute long. So I'll take this one called Soul, and I'll drop it into an audio track below the other ones. Now, because this audio track is longer than my 1 minute of footage, I'll need to zoom out to see the rest of that song. I don't need all the rest of this, though. I'm just going to cut it off right here. I can use my razor tool, which is over here, and then click at the end of this 60 seconds, then go back to my selection tool and click that to cut that. Then I'll do an effect. I'm going to do a crossfade effect on my audio. I'll go to Effects, type in crossfade. Doesn't matter which one of these you choose. I'll just choose constant power. I'll put a crossfade at the beginning and the end so that that fades out. Now, as you notice, if you play this, my audio is very loud and I'm starting to get peaking here in my audio levels. I want to try to avoid that. I don't want there to be any peaking. I need to turn down the audio levels on this. Let me show you an easy way to do that. So all of these are different tracks, and if you hover your mouse over here next to this little microphone icon, but in between tracks, you'll see that your mouse becomes a funny looking arrow. If I click and drag down, I'll make these waveforms bigger. And once those waveforms are a bit bigger, there's also going to be this horizontal line that goes across the whole thing. If I hover my mouse over that horizontal line, my mouse turns into a funny looking mouse with two arrows. This is the volume dial, and I can click and drag to turn down the volume of this song here. I'm going to turn it down to -24 or so. And I want to get it so that the music is kind of the most important thing. What I want to try to avoid is I want to try to avoid my audio levels getting beyond this -6 point. If they're getting beyond that -6 point, that means I'm going to have some peaking. So I'll take a listen. And that should be fine. That should be loud enough. Okay, so I've added music, I've added some transitions. Go ahead and go to File and Save, just in case you haven't been saving your project, just to be safe. We are getting close, but now I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to add a text layer on top of my video tracks here, and that text layer is going to identify what kind of shot that we have here. So for each shot. So I'm going to go to my Type tool, which is right here. It's in this middle panel here. And if I want to, I can make this program panel a little bit bigger. And I'm going to start typing in some text. What I'm going to do is I'm going to identify each kind of shot. So like this one looks like it's a static wide or a static mid. It's a little bit hard for me to tell. So I'm going to just click anywhere in your program panel with your Type tool. And then I will be able to start typing in some text. And I'm going to type in the type of shot that this is. So I'm going to do a wide shot static. That's what I'm going to type in. Now, what I'm going to do next is when you type in by default, it might be this size, it might be smaller, it might be bigger. We can change all of this type if we want to. So we need to highlight this text once you've typed it in. Just click 3 times in your text. It will highlight all of that text. Then I'm going to go to my Effect Controls panel up here in the top left. Looks like I don't have that panel right now, so I'm going to go to Window and find Effect Controls. And then under my text, I've got my text highlighted. I actually want to make sure I've got it highlighted, so it's got the red highlight around it. I can go to my little text option right here, and this is where I can change the text. I can change it to something else. So I'm going to change the font here. The font I'm going to use is Futura. You can use a different one if you want to. I'm going to use Futura Bold. And then I can do a lot of other things too with this text. I can change the size of it here if I want to. Just by doing this. Again, the text has to be highlighted for this to work, but I can change the size of it. I can do all kinds of things. I'm going to add a shadow to this. Just clicking on this to add a shadow, that will add a little drop shadow. And you can change the angle of that and how big that is, right? And I'm also going to give that shadow a color, like a dark gray. And then for my text color itself, if you just click on the box there, you can change the color of the text if you want to. But I think just white should be fine. I don't care a whole lot about this. This is okay, you know exactly how it is. But I can go ahead and close that. Next thing I do need to do is I need to change the positioning of this text. I want the text for all of these to be down here in the lower left, of your frame. What I want it to be, though, is I want it to be in a place where it's in the lower left of the frame, but safe, so it's not going to get cut off by like the progress bar in YouTube or something like that. So I'm going to go to my selection tool in here. I'm just going to right-click anywhere in this kind of gray area in my program panel. And I have the option to add this option here called Safe Margins. This is going to add some lines. These lines will not show up in your final video, but they will be just kind of a guide for where you can put text or other graphics where they're not going to get cut off by a progress bar in YouTube or something like that. Once I've done that, I'm going to click on my text layer here, just right here in my sequence, so I can see it. I'm going to make sure my playhead is over that text layer so I can see it as well. Then I'll go to my Effect Controls. I'm going to find my text, and I'm going to find these transform controls here. These transform controls. I'm going to change the position of this text by moving these two. If I hover my mouse over these numbers and go left to right, I can change it, and that's where I want to change. I want to move the text this way using these to about like in this corner of my safe margin here. Okay, now that is safe. That's good to go. So I've got my text where I want it to be. It's the right size. It's readable. I want to make sure that this text layer is now long enough that I can see it for the entire clip. So I can just click over my layer here, and if I hover my mouse over the far right side or the far left side and click and drag out, now it fills, it's going to be over this video clip for the whole time that I can see it. We can watch here. And it'll be there the whole time. Find your next shots and identify what they are. This one is a rack focus, so I'll do the same kind of thing. I'm going to go to my text tool. I'm just going to click anywhere in here. It's going to give me the same font and size and all those options as my last one, and I can just type in rack focus. This time I'm going to, once you're done typing, just click like anywhere outside of there. I'm just going to click on my layer here. Then I'm going to go to my text options here. I'm going to close this source text one, find my transform option, and I can position this text however I want to, but I'm going to position it in the lower left like that. And then again, I'm going to make sure that this layer fills in the whole space. I'm going to do that for all of my shots, just identifying what they are. Okay, so this is what it looks like before I'm almost ready to submit. I've identified each of my shots here. I've got some text down in the lower left, and I've got the same text, all that sort of stuff there, and it looks pretty good to go. So I'm pretty happy with what I've got here. I've got 6 10-second clips. This is about ready for me to export and then submit. Okay, I'm just about ready to export this so that I can turn this in. So before I do that, I like to, just to be safe, I like to highlight all of my clips here. One easy way to do that is just to go to Edit and then select All. Make sure that this panel is highlighted, so this panel has the blue box around it, and then do Edit, select All. Then I can go to my Export option here, and where I can export this video. You're going to see a little preview of the video you're exporting right here. Under File Name, the file name should just be the same name as your sequence, Assignment 2 KC. That's great. That's what's already there. Under Location, I need to click on this text to give it a place to save it. You're going to see a smaller box like this that doesn't give you a lot of options. Make sure to click on this little arrow so you can actually tell Premiere where you want this to save, and you can choose your options. You can go to your desktop, Video Production Lab, Assignment 2, and this is going to go in the Exports folder. That's where that'll go. Hit Save. The rest of these options, don't need to worry about it. We can just choose Export. Should take a few minutes to export. All right, when it's done exporting, you'll get a little notification saying your file exported successfully. It's a good idea to file and save your project. Before we close Premiere, let's go down to our Finder icon and make sure that export did export correctly. So I'm going to go to my Assignment 2 folder, find my Exports folder, and if I want to see a preview of this, I can just click on it and hit the space bar, and I can see it. And yeah, looks like that worked okay. Okay, great. That's what I want to submit, and that's ready to go. Okay. We're going to submit 2 things. Let me show you how to submit those 2 things. You can file, save your Premiere project. You can quit Premiere. That's fine. And go back to your browser. Here's how you're going to submit the assignment. So you're going to go to let's go back to just our Blackboard page here. Find that shared files icon right here. Go to Spring 23. Find this Assignment 2 option here. And then find the folder that was for you. Find the folder that was where your stuff was. So find your folder that had your stuff in it, and so just find the folder for yourself. Click in that folder, and you can just drop these files in here. So here's what I'm going to do. I've got this folder open. Since I'm using Kylie and Matthew's footage, I'll just use theirs. I'm going to go to my Finder icon here, and I'm going to find, on here, I'm going to find my Video Production Lab folder, my Assignment 2 folder, and I'm going to drop 2 things into this folder here in our Blackboard, in our shared files. I'm going to drop my export and my Premiere project, and drop both of those things. So my export here and my Premiere project. If you want to do it this way, you can just open up the exports folder and just click and drag and click. Now, don't move away from this window until you know that it has fully uploaded your file. They're big files, remember. If you click away before it's done, I won't be able to see everything. You should see a notification like this saying, hey, it's done, and you'll see the file there. And let's do our Premiere project as well. You can also see a little option here where it says uploading. If you click on that, you'll see the upload progress. But in the end, you should see your MP4 and your Premiere project. I need both because I want to see your Premiere project to see how you're doing, make sure you're getting everything right, and also to see your MP4. Okay, once you've done that, you can go to Blackboard, you can go to our assignment, which is in week 3, and then all you need to submit for this is just click on the assignment, and you can see the instructions and all that here. Just click in Write Submission and just tell me I submitted the MP4 and Premiere project, or something to that effect. I'll be able to find them. I'll just go to shared files and find them. You can hit submit. You do not need to upload your whole video here directly into Blackboard. It's just into the shared files folder. Once you've done that, you're done with this assignment. Congratulations.